All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Connection Hangout. Tonight is the Tech Connection. Now, my partner there, David Asarno, he is on vacation, so I want to wish him a great vacation this week and do a little housekeeping here. As a reminder, this is not an ASEA business presentation or a product overview. This is just the Connection Hangout is designed to connect you with industry professionals, celebrities, athletes, ASEA executives, so that you can get connected and learn, take a little bit of a deeper dive into things to help you get more educated on product as well as the business. But if you'd like more information specifically on ASEA, Redo 28, or the business model, please get back with the person who invited you here and they can share that information with you. Some of you may have a more info button underneath the screen here, and we'd encourage you to click on that as soon as we're done, and that could take you to more information on ASEA as well. If you have some comments, feel free to type right in the comments thread beneath there. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll get back to you as in between as we're able to flip back and forth. Without further ado, I'd like to bring on and welcome tonight's special guest. He's been with us before. He is the Director of Business Development for Deductr Software. A lot of you are familiar with that, but I think a lot of people out there have not taken advantage of Deductr to its full potential. And so Doug's here tonight to share with us some of the updates, new features, and how to really leverage this platform. So please welcome Doug Long. Welcome, Doug.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely. Great to have you back with us. Now, off the top here, as a sort of a review, I'd like to, if you could just give everyone out there a little bit of history regarding the reason that Deductr was initially developed and the types of people that are currently using the platform.
Yeah, you bet. Deductr's been around now for about 6 years, and it was about 7 years ago that a couple of brothers who had been very successful and were very successful in network marketing and different companies were with one of their friends who was a CPA, and they were talking taxes and the problems that they all faced with them. And on the brother's side, it was just getting everything together during the year, making sure they tracked everything effectively during the year, so they had documentation and all the stuff you have to have. And they just said, this is such a pain, we never do it. We procrastinate the heck out of it because it's no fun. And then on the other side of the coin, you have the CPA, and he's like, yeah, I know, you guys bring me the big box of stuff every year and then expect me to do miracles and save you thousands of dollars. And so the whole, out of this discussion basically came, let's build something that will take the, I guess you'd call the human nature element out of tracking expenses, which is the procrastination and forgetting. That's what kills people. They either don't want to do it, so they don't, and they say, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, and later becomes December 31st, and now you know what happens. Or they just forget to take the receipt and put it where it needs to go. And so stuff gets lost. Those are dollars being lost every time a receipt fades and you can't read it anymore, or you lose it, or you didn't save it, or you didn't record it. So they said, people are leaving money on the table. Let's figure out a way to eliminate that human nature element, automate this whole tracking thing, and see if we can't help people save a lot more money. So that's really where it came about. And 6 years ago, the first iteration of Deductr was launched. It's very different than it was in those days, but it's the same basic premise and the same concept. Let's automate tracking of expenses, mileage, and time for our business, the things that we have to show and prove if we're ever audited. And by the way, people who are self-employed are 3 times as likely to be audited now than anyone else, your 9-to-5 neighbor. It's a big deal. You have to be aware of that, and you need to be prepared for it. So that's what Deductr was built to do, and that's where we're at today.
Fantastic, fantastic. And would you say the majority of your audience is in the direct sales or network marketing space?
It is and has been. That's where Deductr really cut its teeth, was in the direct sales space. And so right now, I would say a majority of our users still are there. Real estate has become a very large market for us, and we have a lot more independent real estate agents now that are using our tool. We have independent truckers now who use our tool, because it's really built for anybody who's 1099. If you get a 1099, you're an independent contractor type of business person. Even if you're a small business person with a couple of employees, Deductr still works well for keeping track of those expenses that you're spending money on your business, you're driving miles and doing things for your business in the car. You need to track that stuff. Deductr does that. So we're starting to branch out, but yeah, network marketing and direct sales is really still our bread and butter.
Fantastic, fantastic. You know, Robert Kiyosaki said that the two most important things that a person can do to impact their financial life is one, to start a home-based business, and two, to get your taxes under control. So if you could give us a little tour here, maybe the top three things that Deductr can do that can instantly give people the advantage in getting their taxes under control.
Yeah, you bet. And he's right. I mean, you start a business because as a business owner, the tax rules change for you. You suddenly open a door to a whole lot of different tax laws that you didn't have access to or could take advantage of as a W-2 employee. So that's huge. That's why he said that. As far as what Deductr does to help you get your taxes under control, to get them under control, you kind of have to know what you need to control. And so Deductr is designed to help you determine those things that have to be controlled. So I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share here, and let's hope everything works like it's supposed to, and you can see the screen. Let me know if you can't. Are you seeing my screen yet there, Paul?
Not quite yet, but sometimes it takes a minute after you click on screen share. Make sure you click on present to everyone. I think
right.
Also,
let's see. Let's try it one more time here. Open up. Doesn't want to open for me. Of course, technology is a wonderful thing. When you're live, it knows it, and it says, "I'm not going to work."
Right. I mean, you clicked on the screen share button first, right? On the
little green button on the left.
Yep.
Yes.
Entire screen.
It doesn't want to do anything. It's just like not even responding, which isn't the end of the world. If we can't see the screen, it won't. I can still certainly tell you how it works, but yeah, I'm clicking on it and it doesn't want to do something. I'm sure it's something on my end that's not open or working.
Let me see on my end, see if I can wake it up here.
Okay.
So if I do a tire here.
Oh, there we go. Something just happened.
Okay. So on me, you're seeing me. Let me go ahead and stop this end. Okay, now I disabled it. So maybe try it again. Maybe that reloaded it on your end or something. I don't know.
Okay, let's try it again.
When you
I'm clicking the little green screen, and doggone it, nothing.
With the arrow in it, the green screen with the arrow in it?
Yeah, it just doesn't do anything. Click, 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 and nothing's happening. That's all right. We'll just describe how it works, because it's not, the visual part would be helpful, but it's not absolutely necessary. Okay. So what Deductr does, as I discussed earlier, it automates the process. It helps us to take the whole my memory or my tendency to procrastinate out of the equation by letting us link to our business tools that we use to purchase things. That would be debit cards, credit cards, checking accounts. Anything that's in the electronic form of payment, we can now link to Deductr directly. Well, what does that do? Well, that then starts tracking the minute I use my card. So now I'm swiping my card for purchases, airline tickets, hotels, things for my meetings, food, and things like that I'm going to give to my guests, whatever it might be that's business expense, now gets tracked at the point of sale. So I'm not having to think about whether that receipt got saved or not. I'm not having to think about whether that data from the receipt got put into a nice spreadsheet like maybe I used to do to keep it organized. It's already there. It's pulled into Deductr, and it's simply waiting for me to do one more step, and that is to confirm whether or not it was business. Many of us in this business, when we get started, we start with our own personal checking account, and that kind of becomes our combined business and checking, account. Obviously, at some point, you're going to want to get a business account that's separate from your personal finances. It makes things a lot easier. But if you do combine them, you need to have a way of telling this tracking tool which one was personal, which one wasn't, and eliminate the personal, because we just want to take care of the business items in Deductr. So that's something you'll do once, twice a month, maybe. It really depends on how full the queue gets. By queue, I mean the number of transactions that come into Deductr during the month. So as I'm out doing business, I'm swiping my card, I'm maybe writing checks using the debit card, whatever it might be, I'll see a number begin to grow in my Deductr dashboard. And that number is transactions being tracked. And once that gets to maybe 40 or 50, that's probably a good time to log into my Deductr account, either on my phone or on my computer, and confirm those. Because if that number gets bigger, up in the hundreds or even more, that's a lot of time that I'm going to have to take to confirm those, because I have to go through them line by line and to say which one was business and which one wasn't. And I also have to tell it a business purpose. Okay, the IRS wants 5 things on every transaction, every business expense. They want 5 pieces of information if you're ever audited. A date when the money was spent, where you spent the money, the name of the vendor, the location, the merchant, how much money was spent, a category. The category is based on the Schedule C, which we file for all of our itemized deductions. And the final one, and perhaps the most important, is the purpose, the business description of that purchase. Why did I spend that money for business as opposed to being a personal expense? Those 5 things are all tracked in Deductr. 3 of them come from the bank with BankLink. The date, how much I spent, and where. The other 2 I have to fill in. So that's why this confirmation process is so key. I have to give it a category, and I have to explain why it was business related. The more detailed that explanation, and we have a little box in Deductr, you can just type it in, a little sentence or a paragraph, whatever you feel is important, but as much detail as you can give is better, because if I do that now, and I am audited, knock on wood, that never happens, but if I happen to be audited, and they're going to come at me and they're going to look at my list of deductions that I want to claim, and if they aren't satisfied with the reasons for my expenditures, they're going to ask me then to justify them in person. I'm gonna have to tell them why. Now, just think about trying to remember expenses you did in January the previous year, and you're in April or May of the next year. You may not even remember exactly why you spent the money. So if we do that now, we set ourselves up to really be bulletproof in an audit. And here's what I've learned from people who have been audited. When their records are thorough, when an auditor sees that they have good descriptions under every deduction, they look at the first few and they go, okay, there's nothing to be seen here.
Yeah.
And they go to the next item. They don't even mess with it anymore because they realize there's no revenue to be had. The only reason they're going to dig is if they think there's money that you can give them. So, and the only money you're going to give them is the one on those things that you don't have good explanations for, or you haven't given good documentation on. So there's your tip for the night. If you just do that, you will be 100% better in any audit that you may ever have to go through and experience.
So let me ask a quick question, Doug. So you said about when it gets to about 30 or 40 is a good amount of transactions for you to now jump in and get caught up. But how long that you think that would take to do 30 or 40?
Paul, for you that might happen in a week. For me, I'm not out there traveling as much as you do or doing as much as you do because my business isn't as big. But so it might take me 2 to 3 weeks to get to that number. Here's the beauty though. Deductr reminds you. It'll actually tell you. You'll get an email or a ping on your phone that says, hey, you've got X number of transactions in Deductr. Maybe you want to log in now and confirm those. So that'll let you know when they start to stack up. So it's not like you're going to suddenly get a big surprise as long as you're paying attention to your email and your phone messages. So that is helpful. But everyone's going to be different to answer your question. It just really depends on how much business you do and how much you spend on your business during the month.
And you're looking at what, 20, 30 minutes maybe to go through those 30 or 40 once you start getting good at it?
If that, and once you get the hang of the confirmation process, the longest piece of that little process will be typing in your explanation, which 10, 15 seconds probably tops on most of those. So you probably knock out 4 or 5 a minute, and in 30 or 40 of them, you're done in 10 minutes. So it really doesn't have to be a long, arduous process. Funny though, I talked with a Diamond representative from an Diamond associate with the CIA this last week, and she had over 1,700 transactions waiting for her in Deductr because, well, she just kind of put it off. Oh, yeah. You know what? It was a great example that you can actually procrastinate with Deductr and not get penalized. She has 1,700 to confirm, but guess what? They're all in there. She didn't lose any of them. So that's kind of a big deal. And I felt bad for her that she's going to have to do that at some point. But I was thrilled that they had that example to show some of the other folks we were talking to.
Absolutely. And I think for most of us, I know when I was first starting a business, that's probably was the most scariest part, the grayest part, the things that you lose sleep over. And so Deductr not only, like you said, is doing that always behind the scenes, but it's also filling out half of the information for you that we would have had to manually write in prior to. Yeah,
and that's the point. One of the big things that the founders decided they wanted Deductr to do was make the process as simple as possible, because that's why it doesn't get done. It's a arduous and tedious task when you're doing it manually. If you can automate most of it, it changes the whole dynamic, and now people will do it. And that's really the bottom line, getting people to do this during the year.
Super, super. Now, Deductr was designed to be purchased as a standalone product, but it actually comes with the ASEA Business Coach subscribers for free.
That's right.
So what would a person, if they weren't part of ABC, what would they normally have to pay for Deductr?
If you go to Deductr.com right now, you will see $19.95 per month. and $199 for a year, which is a little better deal if you buy a full year at a time. And I'll be brutally honest, that's a steal. That is still, we guarantee you will get 10 times that in tax savings just during the year, let alone, it'll pay for itself, plus it's a tax deduction on top of that. So even at that price, it's a bargain in my book. You can find Deductr in other areas with some of our real estate affiliates and so forth at half that at $9.95 a month, but that's the cheapest you'll ever see it out there on the open market. To have it included in your ABC, your See a Business Coach is an incredible deal. I mean, the ABC itself is an amazing tool, really is. Very impressed with that software and what it does in helping build your business. But then to have an additional tool like this for the financial side of your business built in at no additional cost, that's a crazy deal. Yeah.
So let me summarize for everyone out there who's bad at math. Okay, which would be myself included. But that's $19.95 is what people would pay for Deductr. You're paying $19.95 for the ABC platform. That includes Deductr. So and Deductr, by using Deductr, it's going to save you. It's going to more than pay for itself. Like Doug said, 5-10 times maybe the amount that you'll get back in your taxes. So literally, it's not just free. You're actually losing money if you're not using it. So again, having both of those expenses covered, ABC and Deductr, monthly services covered, and even then some, it's really a no-brainer for you to fire that up as soon as possible. Take advantage of that. Okay, finally, can you tell us maybe a couple of stories that maybe you've heard from people who use Deductr on a daily basis? I know we got the deduction story, but maybe you've got one or two more you can share with us.
Oh yeah. I got a good friend who started using Deductr about 4 years ago, about the same time I did. Was paying his tax, his CPA, about $4,000 a year to do his taxes, and well worth it. He will tell you, worth every penny because of what his
income is, right,
put in his pocket.
Right.
Started using Deductr. Drastically reduced the amount of paperwork he was having to give to his CPA and the amount of work his CPA was having to do. Took his bill, because he was being billed hourly, and reduced it by over 75% in the first year that he was used. So there he put about $3,000 back in his pocket just in what he had been paying for tax prep. On top of that, the money that he was saving on his taxes, because he was more thorough, because he was had more documentation, and because he had everything he tracked during the year, he was able to deduct more. So his bottom line, or his taxable income, was reduced significantly. So that's one of the big stories. Another story I'll share with you, just learned about today. There's a lady in Branson, Missouri. Her name is Karen Best. She's actually the mayor of Branson, Missouri. Her job as mayor is part-time. She's a real estate professional on the other, for other income. And she is a huge fan of Deductr and has been using it now for a number of years. And so we just learned about her. She shared a wonderful testimonial with us, in fact, today. And same thing, just saving her a ton of money, has made life incredibly easy from what it was before, when she was in a mad scramble at the end of the year, or the early part of March and April, trying to get ready for tax time. So those days are gone, and she's now prints out her report from Deductr and gives it to her tax professional in a very timely manner, and things are just much nicer for her. So a lot of the stress and the headaches of tax time really help reduced greatly with Deductr if you're using it the way it's designed to be used. And so that was a recent experience we just learned about.
Fantastic. Just something that came to mind is what do you see here? I mean, for the future directions. And I know last time it was just before I think the mobile app was being released, and the ability to track mileage, things like that. But not just with the application itself, but maybe the tax landscape environment. You have any maybe inside information for folks out there they could take advantage of?
Year to year, we always get caught up on all the new rules, and there are changes, of course, every year to the IRS code. Also Canadian. There's a Canadian version, so those of you who are up in Canada, our neighbors to the north, there's a full Canadian version for you, and the CRA is very similar to the IRS in many aspects. So we keep up on that stuff and make those adjustments and changes. For example, last year the mileage allotment went up from 56 cents to 57.5 this year. It may go up again next year, it may go down, changes, but it does fluctuate. But we stay on top of that. Obviously, it's critical that we do so that our reporting, which, by the way, there's 8 different business and tax reports that Deductr provides for you in real time during the year, so you can actually see where you're at, not only on your taxes, but in your business. A profit loss statement is created for you. A lot of folks don't even have one of those, but if you're ever in need of a small business loan, you want to increase, your capital expenditures and build your business in a way, you ever go for a loan, they're going to ask you for a P&L. What's your profit loss statement? They want to see that information. You'll have one. You'll get a tax summary estimate that tells you basically what you owe the IRS at any given point during the year, if indeed you're in a profit. So once you're making money with the SIA, you got to pay taxes on that money. Well, it's no fun to get a phone call from either your accountant or a letter from the IRS saying, write your check out for X for your quarterly taxes, and you didn't have any idea what that was going to be, and now you got a big surprise, and you're saying, whoa, I may not have that much money in the account right now. Whatever it might be, you don't need those surprises. So there's a report that'll actually let you know basically what you owe at any given point, so when you have that money set aside to write that check when the time comes. And you know what? I hope y'all have to write big fat tax checks to the IRS, because that means you're making a ton of money with a SIA, right? That's the goal. So not too big of checks, but you want to be writing some checks there, and you'll know what you need to write with that report. There's a ton of reports in there, including the main report that you hand to your tax professional at the end of the year, with everything in it, itemized and tracked, just as it's supposed to be, and just as your tax professional will need to fill out the forms that they'll file for your taxes. So all of that is part of the deal. The phone app is really getting better and better, and that's where we're really spending a lot of our development time and focus right now, is on the phone app, because we know that's where people are going. The laptops and the PCs are not our first priority anymore when it comes to getting data and information. We're going to our phones, and so the phone app, we know, has to evolve and become more of an all-encompassing piece of the software, and that's where we're moving with that. So there are things on the horizon with the phone app that are coming along. We're really excited about that. It's going to make it so you may never have to log into your computer to access everything, including your reports in Deductr. You'll just hold the phone up and have it all right there at your fingertips. So that's some of the stuff that we're doing. One thing I will share with you, our calendaring feature is a patent pending piece of software development that we have in our tool. We are now very close to having that synced with outside calendaring systems. In other words, Google Calendar, iCal, Outlook. We've had a lot of people ask for that over the years, and we realize how important that is, because you don't want to have to change calendars and use our calendar exclusively, even though the Deductr calendar is awesome because it links all of your transactions and mileage to the events and the activities you're doing in your business, which is really cool. But that's going to happen soon. So that's very close to being completed. We'll be excited to roll that out here really soon. And I know a lot of people listening to this right now who've been using Deductr for a while are probably jumping up and down, popping party favors and things. They've been wanting this for a while.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, well, thank you so much again, Doug, for your time. It's very enlightening, and we'll look forward to, again, periodically checking in with you and to seeing all the new and great things as Deductr continues to evolve. Thanks so much.
Anytime, Paul.
All right, thanks everybody out there for tuning in. Want to just wish you a great rest of your evening, rest of the week, and until next time, I'll see you later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.